It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well.
As I'm sure you've noticed, there's been a wave of Republican/MAGA congresspeople announcing that they will no longer be seeking re-election once their current term is up. Most recently, Troy Nehls made his announcement, becoming the 6th Texas Republican to do so.
Listen, this place is nothing but a big swampy place, right?
True.
And in order, if you're ever going to fix Washington, D.C., you got to get the money out of it.
Yeah.
You got to get the money out of it.
Nehls represents a suburb on the west side of Houston, but his case is a little bit different. He's got a twin brother who plans to run for his seat instead. The MAGA twins are diehard Trump supporters, and Trevor Nehls promises to, quote, follow in Troy's footsteps and stand shoulder to shoulder with Donald Trump. Troy even called Trump directly to tell him of his plans to step down. Of course, this announcement came just days before the deadline to file for candidacy in 2026, so it didn't leave much time for anyone besides Troy's brother to enter the race. So even though it's not a direct comparison, if Republican voters were mad that Biden dropped out of the presidential race when he did after the primary and basically installed his vice president as the new presidential candidate, this is similar to what we're seeing with the Nehls twins. Again, it's not a direct comparison, and obviously the scale is much smaller, but it does feel similar. Trevor has already run for past positions and lost, including county sheriff and county judge, so we'll see how this race goes for him. He would essentially just be stepping into his brother's shoes, and if the people of Richmond, Texas already like Troy, perhaps Trevor will have no problem getting elected himself. It is a safely red district out there, and they are twins with the same last name, so not to insult the intelligence of the people of Richmond, but maybe they won't even realize that it's a different Nehls on the ballot. A lot of people just don't pay attention to news items like this one. That's all I mean when I say they probably, there's a chance that they might not notice. But if Trevor plans to stick to Troy's platform, then subbing one out for the other really won't make much of a difference to the voters anyway. Troy Nehls says that he is stepping down to focus on family, but as I mentioned, he joins a list of now 6 Texas congresspeople no longer seeking re-election. The others are Representatives Wesley Hunt, Chip Roy, Jody Arrington, Morgan Luttrell, and Michael McCall. Some are seeking different positions, and others haven't said what their future plans entail. But prior to this announcement, Nehls recently made headlines for being one of the Republican congresspeople who did not support the release of the Epstein files, only to vote for their release once Trump told him to. And I must have said this at the time, and it's a fairly obvious point, but I think it's one that bears repeating. This is the most appalling demonstration of the fact that our elected representatives do not represent the will of the people or their constituents. They just do Trump's bidding. On his decision to vote for the release of the files, Nehls told reporters,
His mission and his goals and objectives, whatever that is, we need to embrace it. All of it. Every single word. If Donald Trump says jump 3 feet high and scratch your head, we all jump 3 feet high and scratch our heads.
Nationally, 40 congressional politicians have announced that they are not seeking re-election, including both Democrats and Republicans. However, with the Republicans holding such a narrow majority in the House, a majority they're already not expected to keep in the midterms, even with all of the redrawn maps, there is a small chance that we could see that majority shift earlier than November 2026. A small chance. Notable House resignations or retirements for one reason or another from the Republicans include Nancy Mace, Byron Donalds, Elise Stefanik, Andy Barr, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Marsha Blackburn. From the Senate, we've got Joni Ernst, Tommy Tuberville, Tom Tillis, and Mitch McConnell leaving. Of the Democrats, we're seeing several leaving the House, most notably perhaps being Jerry Nadler and Lloyd Doggett. And in the Senate, the most significant retirement announcement was by far that of Nancy Pelosi's. So why is all of this happening? Firstly, there is still a lot of confusion and contention surrounding the redrawing of congressional district maps. The courts are fighting through them, and Pam Bondi just announced that they're suing California California over their new maps, the maps that the people of California actually voted for. Of course, she's not suing Texas for redrawing its map without the approval of its citizens. Basically, there is plenty of uncertainty surrounding which districts will be competitive in 2026. And if the Republicans lose the majority in 2026 as they're expected to, it would be understandable, though not commendable, that some Republican leaders simply do not want to be on the losing team. It's not fun for them to actually have to fight for their constituents, so they're getting out before their jobs actually start to feel like jobs. Along those same lines, Republicans are reportedly already frustrated with Mike Johnson's leadership, claiming he's blocking progress by not bringing things to the floor for votes. But if we recall, Mike Johnson was no one's first pick for speaker in the first place. That said, Trump seems mostly happy with him because he just does whatever Trump tells him to. Another possible reason for the exodus could be related to the fact that some Republicans may want to get out while they can before this whole sham of an administration comes crashing down around them. They don't want to get caught up in the fallout from the pending disaster that they themselves helped to facilitate. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene held out long enough to secure her congressional benefits for life before jumping ship. We all know that she has higher ambitions than her current position in the House, so we'll see where she ends up or what she ends up doing. We'll also see whether or not her breaking with Trump and Republicans is genuine or not. She may be feuding with Trump right now over the Epstein files, but she's not going to change her thoughts and feelings on all of the very right-leaning issues she once believed in overnight. Whatever the reason, I love a good turnover, especially this particular turnover. I'm very happy about some of the Democrats that are even leaving, especially Nancy Pelosi. There's always that fear, though, that lingers whenever shakeups happen. Like, the devil that you know is typically preferable to the unknown, but we can't live in that fear. We're already barely surviving as a country for reasons I'm sure I don't need to explain to this audience. So the least, the very least that we can do for ourselves is just try to get better people in influential positions of power, and we now have the opportunity to do that. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.